Welcome, everyone. We're happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us. Today, we will be learning about how to implement a digital record-keeping workflow. David Foth is the product manager for myLDR, and he spends many hours of his days speaking with customers to discover new ways to improve their radiation safety management process. Some of you may have even spoken to him in the last few years. He's very passionate about making myLDR and LANDAUER dosimetry services an irreplaceable asset for RSOs, and is here to share his experience on the new myLDR Feature Signature Suite. So with that, I will turn it over to Dave.
Thank you, Tiffany, and welcome. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. I'm David Foth, Product Manager with myLDR for LANDAUER. And as Tiffany mentioned, the chances are good. We've probably spoken in the last couple of years. We've literally spoken with hundreds of customers. And what's so exciting about that is that it helps us really get a close understanding of your day-to-day tasks, challenges, and just kind of running your radiation safety programs. One of the things that customers shared with us recently is about some of their day-to-day activities associated with just generally reviewing dose reports, signing them, distributing that information to participants. And we just realized that there's a lot of challenges and a lot of pain points that our customers have been experiencing. A typical workflow for doing this involves downloading those reports from myLDR, signing them, sometimes by hand, sometimes using a PDF editor, and then archiving those in different locations. Some customers still using 3-ring binders, using paper. And then a lot of folks expressed that they were actually sending emails, attaching this information, and then keeping those emails for years as record and proof that they've actually, maintained and met these requirements for their auditors and inspectors. And so it became very clear to us that there had to be an easier way. And our customers are really just asking for a single place, single location where they can log in, review these dose reports and other reports, sign them digitally, and then distribute them to the participants. And so that's what we're introducing today. We're going to dig into a solution called the Signature Suite within myLDR. Before we do that, I'd like to pause just for a minute and ask for some feedback from our attendees on the call. Dan, we've got a poll question that's up at the moment.
All right, that poll has been launched. I'll give you guys a few seconds here to select one of the choices here. All right, we got about 66% voted, so I'll give you a couple more seconds here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share. So 21% utilizing LANDAUER individual dose review portal. We have 17% posting data in public place for participants to view. We have 29% hard copy provided to participant directly. 19% attaching to emails and sending to participants. And then we have 14% only providing this upon request.
All right, thank you, Dan. That's very helpful. And so it sounds like there's really a broad bit of experience with everybody, different groups just using different methodologies here. And what we're going to discuss a little bit is around a new feature in myLDR. It's been out now for a couple of months called Signature Suite. It really reduces the time, risk, and effort associated with maintaining those compliance. So being able to review the dose reports, sign them, prove that you reviewed them, and then distribute that information in an easy manner. And so we'll walk through the specific details on how this works. Number one, from within myLDR, you have access now to digitally sign those reports. And this is all reports except for items like packing slips, which don't need a signature. And the signature is kept right on the report in myLDR, which gives you a secure archive to always come back and access those reports that have been signed. You can download them and export them if needed as well. And you can instantly notify the participants about their dose information or the availability of a new report. And we'll walk through exactly how that works in myLDR. And finally, what's most important here is keeping those records of the notification. So being able to prove that you distributed that information. We've got a feature right on the reports page, which shows a history of notifications that go digitally to the participants about their dose or about a report. And then finally, we'll talk through the evidence that you can generate from myLDR for inspections and audits. So first of all, the digital signature is very straightforward. You've probably seen this most recently in the portal if you've been in the last 30 to 60 days. When you do a preview on a report, we now have a button here for sign. If you have subscribed to the Signature Suite, it's as simple as clicking sign, and it will add the name, the title, and the date on when this was signed on every page of a dose report. And for other reports like Form 4s, Form 5s, there's actually a signature field, and it'll place that information in the signature field. Now, there's two ways this can be done. One is just like I showed you here on the report preview. You can click sign and it's done. But a lot of our customers express to us that they have hundreds of participants, even thousands. And when it comes to Form 5 season and they need to sit down and just knock out, a bunch of these, there's a better method for that. So there's two ways to do it. One is you can open up this preview. The second is if you've downloaded the reports directly from myLDR, so you can click and download those Form 5s or dose reports into a single PDF. And once those are downloaded, you have the ability to do a single click sign function. And I'll show what that screen looks like momentarily. Now, archiving these reports is done directly in the reports section, just like it is today. But what we're enabling, you have the ability to filter. So you can filter by the date, the report type, sub-account, even a participant name, whether or not they've been signed or unsigned. And we're now showing additional status information. So you'll be able to see, was this downloaded and who downloaded it? Was it signed? And then also, what is the IDR status? Now, the IDR is the individual dose review, and we'll touch on that in a moment as well, but that's the portal for participants to log in and access their dose and their dose reports if you submit and publish dose reports to them through the portal as well. So again, what you're seeing here on the right is all the new columns of data that have been added. So you can see the downloaded, the status in the IDR, which will be unpublished, published, and if it's been viewed by a participant, we'll show that it's been viewed. And then the last column is the signature. So you can see it's the first initial last name, and that signing button is right there. So the next step after you've signed a document is to notify the participants. And that's very simply done by selecting the reports on the report page and clicking the publish button to send it to the IDR or notify the participants. Now, in that process, we'll deliver an email directly to the participants, and in the IDR, they'll log in and be able to see that dose information or the reports. If it's a group report, like the dose report could have 20 or 30 participants on it. We don't publish that individually to the IDR, but we publish that data and we send the notification to tell them that they have new dose information. When we look at the Form 4s, Form 5s, other dedicated reports that go to one individual, then those are specifically delivered to the IDR, and they can download them and view them right there as well. So once you trigger the notification, once you've published this information to the IDR, the participant gets an email with a link. They log in. The beautiful part of this is that we're not requiring credentials for participants, but we do tie it to their email. We create what we call a magic link, which means they must have access to their email. And by virtue of having access and credentials to their email, they'll get a link. They can log in directly to the IDR from there. They can see their dose, the different types of dose, some basic information about dose, and if there's reports, they'll be able to actually view those reports and download those. So very easy access, no credentials that they have to forget and ask for updates on, so it's very straightforward. Now, keeping records for those notifications. What I've got here is a screenshot of the reports page. And at the top, when you're a subscriber for the Signature Suite, you'll see a notification tab. And clicking on that notification tab, you have the ability then to sort and filter by time and by type to be able to generate a list of notifications. These are email notifications that have gone to participants and proof that it's either successful or not successful. An example of an unsuccessful notification would be if somebody's email was incorrect. This would notify you of that. You can make a correction and resend it to them. But this list is exportable. So if you want to generate a copy of this for your inspection process, you simply filter and sort for the data that you're looking for, and then send that to a PDF, and you've got a copy of it. So very straightforward. And then also generating a report for the inspections. There's a couple of different bits of information here that we can provide. Number one, I just showed you the notifications, so you can prove that you've notified participants and generate evidence of that for an inspector. But also, you can download those signed reports. So it's a matter of really filtering your list, looking for and collecting the reports which you've signed, and choosing the tick box on the left. You can then download those and save it to a thumb drive, hand it to an inspector, but you've got a full list of signed reports. There's another option here that you can just export this table. And this table, again, shows you the status that it was downloaded, that it was signed, and that it was published to the IDR. So we've got evidence in several different ways that you can use for inspections. And I'm going to pause right now just for a minute. I'd like to kind of get a view how much time people spend in this kind of workflow today. So if you think about your day-to-day activities now, when you're looking at dose reports, printing those out, handing them to people, sending emails, those types of things, just like to get a rough idea. Dan?
All right, that poll has been launched. I'll give you a few seconds to answer this one.
Thank you.
All right, we're at about 60% voted. I'll give you a couple more seconds to make your selection here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close that poll and share the results here. We have 47% hours, 33% days, and 20% weeks.
All right, thank you, Dan. Thanks everyone for participating in that. That's very helpful. I'm guessing the extent of how much time you spend on that's directly related to the amount of participants that you're managing, whether it's tens, hundreds, or thousands. All right. So we'll walk through just quickly what the subscription process looks like for the Signature Suite. It's pretty straightforward. Today, if you're not subscribed to it, what you'll see is the plus signature button on the right on the reports page. And that will, clicking on that will take you to a pop-up that gives you a little information about it. You can click to explore pricing. This is a nominal charge. It's 10 cents a participant per month, so $1.20 a year for a participant. And you've got the ability then just to click on the account and then to confirm your ability to subscribe and click subscribe. You'll then immediately have access to this functionality, so it turns on immediately. And if you've got multiple accounts, you can sign up multiple accounts. You'll receive a confirmation email about the subscription as well. And so that's very straightforward. And we've had hundreds of customers who've already signed up for it and have expressed how much they like the process. So we hope this is interesting and can save you some time and effort. And that really is the goal here. It's around trying to make life easier. There's a lot of things that RSOs and radiation safety teams are doing on a day-to-day basis, but we just feel that managing emails and notifications and printing reports and signing these things really is not high value tasks as a client of Landauer, and we wanted to make those easier for you. I'm going to pause right here. We've got just a couple of minutes left, and I'm going to jump into myLDR and see if we can just look at a couple of screenshots real quick on how you can access this, what it looks like, and just what that process looks like. So from my screen here, I'm going to filter just for today, a dosimetry report. I'm going to look for a report that has not been signed. And let's see, let me open that up a little bit more to year to date. All right. Actually, this is the one I want to do. Okay, so signature process here. Once I click sign, it's going to ask me for confirmation. And if I, for example, if I were doing 30 or 40 of these and I don't want this to pop up every time, I can turn that notification off and just simplify it by reducing clicks. Now you can see on the right, it's actually saving first initial, last name. And when I look at that report, I'm going to expand this a little bit. You'll see here, it's got happy customer, which is the demo account name, radiation safety officer, and the date that it was signed. And that'll show up on every page. So it's immediate, it's right there, and it's saved over on the document itself. Now, the other important task then is to notify and send that to participants. So if I select that report, I go to publish. That has immediately then sent an email to the participants on that report and goes to the IDR. So it's all very straightforward. The notifications page is here at the top of the reports section. You can see all these notifications by time period, and then we can export those as well. And the one other aspect I want to walk through just quickly before we take questions is the IDR, the individual dose review portal. There's no subscription for that. It's available as a standard service for myLDR, and you can access it from the participant page here. In the top right corner, manage IDR access. This is where you give your participants access to the web to see their dose and get those notifications. So you can select this one at a time. You can put in their email here, or we now have a feature that allows bulk upload. So on the right, if we want to import emails, this allows you to take a spreadsheet with the first name, last name, and email, upload it into the system, and we'll match those, and we'll call out anything that doesn't match for you. So if you've got hundreds of participants, this is a great way to put that data in there and not have to do a lot of keystrokes. All right, I'm going to pause right here. We've reached our 20-minute timer in terms of content, and I'll ask Tiffany to kind of open things up for questions.
Oh, yes, we've had quite a few questions come in. I've been answering a few privately, the ones that I know the answers to, but we do have a few. All right, I've had a few questions come in about ALARA notifications, if Signature Suite has tools to identify ALARA, or if ALARA is included. Also, on a similar vein, late badge returns. So if you wanted to touch on those real quick.
So that's a great question. Today's Signature Suite is specifically tied to the reports. So any of the reports that you subscribe to or that are provided by Landauer, you've got the ability to review and sign those digitally and then to publish those to the IDR. Outside of that, if you're tracking unused or unreturned dosimeters or ALARAs, the RADFAX access is helpful to do that. That's a feature in myLDR that tracks that information very closely.
Okay. What happens if a dose modification is needed after Form 5 is created?
So you would request a dose correction or dose modification, and we would then reissue Form 5 for that participant. And with this process, it would all still be the same. You'd get a new Form 5 and run it through the process.
All right, we've had a few questions about having multiple people signing the reports, or if like a whole group can sign off on the reports.
Yeah, so that's a great question. There's some flexibility in the Signature Suite process. Number one, the signature can sign and oversign. And the reason that we did that is that we found in a lot of cases, people were using administrative team members to preview those reports, and they can sign them. And then the RSO will look for those which have been signed by one of the other team members and then oversign on top of that. So the final signature being the RSO, the date and time that they've done that. That's really tied to the access levels within myLDR. So the individuals who have access to do that are what's considered an RSO admin. I'm going to click to the screen real quickly if you can still see this. In the lower left, we now have the ability to manage users, but you can see my user profile for Happy Customer is set up as RSO admin, and that is the requirement for being able to sign, at least having that level of administrative access. And multiple users within your team can have that level.
Okay, next question. Does Signature Suite meet DOE records retention requirements, and can this be demonstrated during an audit?
The requirements that we have and what we can show is proof of each of these activities. So I don't have a specific list of the DOE requirements right now, but what we would be able to show is the dose reports have been reviewed and signed on a specific date. We'll be able to show the individuals were notified about their dose on a specific date related to a specific report and that it was successfully delivered to their email notifications. And all of that can be printed out from myLDR.
Next question, can the IDR email be sent again to staff after they've been added?
Yes, the IDR access emails can be re-triggered to send to the participants again after their initial notification. That can be done within the IDR setup process.
Are you able to upload dose reports to IDR before they're reviewed?
The review process is not a contingency for uploading those reports. So yes, you can publish that information to the IDR. So there's some flexibility there depending on what your process is. I do want to back up 1 minute about resending that IDR notification. That can be done also from an individual's participant information. So if I look at this, clicking down into one individual participant, if I edit their information, you can see the IDR here that I've given access, and there's a button here also to resend the invitation email. So maybe that's a little more clear than my initial answer. Okay, Tiffany.
Yep. All right. We'll do one more question, and actually I've gotten a few of these, so we should probably hit on it real quick. How do we add Signature Suite to our account?
Yeah, adding Signature Suite, you'll go to the reports page. You would see a button on the right, or you'll get a pop-up along the bottom here, but you're looking for the plus signature that you see on the top here. You can explore pricing and you can sign up directly in the portal. So my demo account doesn't have the ability for me to sign this one, but you should be able to see your accounts and click subscribe and you'll have immediate access.
So thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, Dave. That was a great walkthrough of Signature Suite and IDR. And hopefully we'll see all of you on our next webinar. Thank you.